Hi, this is Adam Schneider, and I'm here doing Community Connections with Marilyn McNeil, the Athletic Director at Monmouth University. Thank you for coming over.
I'm delighted to be here.
Now, your office is where on campus?
Oh, way on the southwest corner
By
of
the
the
entrance
campus.
off of Larchwood
Yes,
Avenue.
right across from the baseball field.
But you have a facility here. I mean, the whole campus, it sometimes seems, is devoted to open space and fields.
Well, we are one of the true open space areas in the West Long Branch area, so we have managed to hang on to some green space, which is
Well,
good.
you have the soccer on the Great Lawn.
Right.
You have one of the great basketball facilities for a mid-major in the MAC.
Yeah, we're very proud of that one.
It's a beautiful facility, and with the guys you're bringing into play for Coach Rice, I think, you know, we were talking about before, you're going to pack it soon.
Yes, we hope so.
And then if you keep going down Larchwood Avenue, you've got the softball field, and you've got
Field hockey.
field hockey. And I see a lot of kids running through the neighborhoods. I know you have a good track program there, too.
Yes, excellent.
And
excellent.
I left out the football field.
Yes. Well, the football field and the stadium are the next target for improvement. We really have to do something with that facility.
What do you want to do?
Tear down the facility and rebuild. We need some better seats. Right now we have very poor seats. I feel bad for the students. They have no place to sit. They don't feel that there's a place in the stadium for them.
I mean, a place where they all sit together and make a lot of noise.
Yes, and the band can get there and create the school spirit that you need on a football Saturday. We need much better seats for our season ticket holders, a place to support our boosters and fans. How about indoor restrooms, some nice concession stands, and with our whole work with ESPN3, web streaming and television, our press box is sorely inadequate.
Now, I remember when, and it was, I believe, still, it was either President Stafford or
President Gaffney?
No, before her, when football was announced, there were people who didn't think Monmouth could sustain a football program.
Right. I was not here before Becky Stafford, so I was excited to see football, and there was a lot of enthusiasm for it, but I don't know what happened previously.
Now, I come on campus almost every weekend to use the pool where I see you.
Yes.
And on a Saturday when there's a football game, this place is alive.
It really is. And that's one of the reasons that football was started, was to create a weekend atmosphere and to create sort of an alumni comeback and some enthusiasm and excitement about a football school. So yeah, we get our biggest crowds at football games on a good sunny day. Rain, we struggle.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this past Saturday, there's no men's locker room when you have football,
Right.
and it was a cold, dreary day.
It was awful.
But you've got all these other sports, you know, Olympic sports. Well, they're not all, but you've got lacrosse now. You've got field hockey. You've got a very good track program. You've got a national caliber
Yes, excellent.
half miler out there.
Yes, yeah, fun to watch.
But you've got a fairly high percentage of kids who come here and play sports.
Yeah, it's a little over 10% of the student population, and they really do have the fabric of the campus. They're the ones that are here on the weekends. They're the ones that are here in the evening and competing. Tonight, in a couple of hours, we have a women's soccer game, and it's a beautiful night, so it'll be a great opportunity to just be out there on the Great Lawn and at Hess Field and enjoying watching these youngsters perform at the highest level.
Now, you've just added, we mentioned the pool, you've just added, for the first time in probably 30 years, a swim program.
Right. It left us in 82, 83. They took away the swim program, and so now it's back. Very excited. I met with a group of alumni maybe a month ago. They are very excited about having it back.
Are there kids who are coming here just to swim? I mean, I don't mean, obviously the academics, but their goal is they want to be on a swim team, so they're coming here.
Yes, I was impressed. We hired a great coach, Matt Nunnally, who's a shore guy.
Yes, from LaSalle. You
Yes.
brought him home from LaSalle.
Yes, and we told him, we hired him in April, and we said we need a team. And in June and July, he came up to me and he says, "We're going to get it done. We've got a team coming." And he just announced the other day that yes, we're ready to swim.
How many kids do you need to have a competitive?
You
collegiate?
need 12 on each team to be competitive, but he would like to get 18, 20, 22. So I am looking forward to watching a swim meet. I'm not sure how it all works, but I think you need some backups.
Yeah, my experience is well, Long Branch swims here,
Right.
as do some of the other teams.
Right.
So I'll come here and watch an occasional swim
Good.
meet. I have no idea how they score.
Yeah, no. And we need to upgrade some things in the swimming pool, that's for sure.
Now the pool is not quite regulation size, is it?
Well, no, that's not true. I mean, in terms of the MAC conference where we will swim, it's a fine pool and perhaps is improvement over some of the other pools.
Oh, okay.
My understanding of it is that the shallow end is a little bit too shallow to make an appropriate competitive turn.
I don't know. I never learned how to do a flip turn.
Yeah, me neither. But it's in terms of the distance, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to get some Olympic caliber swimmers to come here. You need an Olympic sized pool, but
I can tell you 35 years ago, you had a couple guys who were national class swimmers.
yes.
A couple of them were still in the pool.
Yes. Yes, I
see
know.
that.
Yes, and we honored the 1976 swimming program, which won a national championship just last fall at our Hall of Fame.
Well, the Dick Stedman pool is.
Yes.
Those were his teams, and
Yes.
they were very good back then. Now, kids who come in to play sports, they tend to stay in school and they tend to graduate and they tend to get pretty good grades.
They do. If our student athletes stay with us the 4 years of their eligibility, they'll all graduate usually in 4 years, about 95%. Their GPAs are invariably usually higher than the general student body. They're really good students. They have to have great time management. And, there's all sorts of rules for them to remain eligible. They have to carry a certain load of classes. They have to carry a certain GPA, much stricter than for the general student. And so they have some real impetus to do the right thing academically.
How do they manage that? Because I know the sports that most of us pay close attention to are football and basketball. And I know basketball practice, we're early October, officially just started. But those kids have been playing basketball. I mean, even if they weren't, it doesn't matter. They're going to play basketball
Right.
a lot anyway.
Right.
How do they manage? Are there regulated study halls? Do the coaches have them at 6 o'clock in the morning doing work? Somebody checks to make sure they go to class, or you treat them like grown-ups, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, I would say. First of all, I think most of your student athletes that aspire to play at this level and come here are essentially gym rats. Their sport is really important to them. So getting out whenever they can is critical. But we can stop them from getting out there if they don't do what they're supposed to do, both from a civil point of view and from an academic point of view. But we do have automatic study hall. All freshmen are in study hall at least 5 hours a week. And that's controlled, and that's over in the library, and they have to check in.
Would have done me some good in college.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
They have access to tutoring the same as the general students, but if somebody falls, if you're a student athlete, you have a lot of support. I think any student here at Monmouth has a tremendous amount of support, but there's a lot of eyes watching. A coach isn't going to go through 3 or 4 years of recruiting a student athlete, working hard to get that student athlete here, to have them flunk out in one semester. So they have a vested interest in that student being successful.
Now, one of the things we read, and it goes on at every school, the NCAA clearinghouse. And I'm a fan, and I read those stories, and I'm a lawyer, so I have some understanding. It makes no sense to me. I don't know what they're talking about.
It's, I think it's one of the areas of the NCAA that is really messed up. It's very confusing, and it seems to be so. There's no set pattern to it. Somebody can get a clearance, and somebody else will have exactly the same transcript and exactly the same experience and doesn't get that clearance. And some of us, certainly at our level, feel like many of the big schools have a cadre of lawyers working for them on their NCAA compliance. We don't have that. We have compliance people, but they're not lawyers. And so we do the best we can with the resources we have. and we're not phoning every moment, and we're not pushing buttons. And I think that it is. I think it's who makes the most noise is getting the calls that they need, and that needs to be fixed. It really does.
Does a kid lose a year of eligibility, or is it just is it just postponed, or does it?
It depends.
It depends.
It can be all of that. They can lose a year of eligibility. They can just lose a year and then some more. It's so all over the place. It's hard for me to say what is yes and what is no.
Now, as an athletic director, what is your role with the NCAA? Do you have a?
Well, the NCAA is made up of the membership, so we're all the NCAA, and we keep pointing to the NCAA as this group of whoever they are, bureaucrats, and they are bureaucrats. One of my big issues with the NCAA, and I think a lot of the confusion and a lot of the questioning that's been going on with the NCAA is nobody's been on the ground on a campus. And so there's been a bunch of bureaucrats over in Indianapolis that are making decisions about our programs and then just sort of saying to the athletic directors, well, you make this work. And they don't understand the politics and the economics and the concerns that we have on a campus dealing with faculty and admissions and other issues.
Does it, we read about it in football and basketball, and basically in the men's side of things. I don't know that it happens so much in women's basketball, which has got a TV contract, and it's almost the same level of competition. Does it happen in the other sports? Like you have, I being on campus, I see the girl field hockey, lacrosse, and soccer players all over campus. Do they have the same issues, or is it easier for them?
Well, I think you have a mentality with the female athlete because the opportunities at the other end are not as big.
I mean, they're not going to go.
They're not going to go for professional. There's a few female basketball players that might be able to play in Europe, and even for our size of campus, it's just very minor number of student
They're
athletes.
here because they love to play sports and want to go to school.
But the female athletes tend to be better students. They tend to have taken care of business. But yes, we've had some of the same waiver problems, some of the eligibility problems with our female student athletes. Their high schools, that's important. The fact that their guidance that they're getting in the high schools is important. Are they in the right classes? Does the high school offering the right classes? There's just a lot of pieces in this puzzle that have to fit.
So if you're watching out there, if you're a kid who wants to play college sports, you got to start paying attention.
You do.
Your freshman year of high school.
You do. You better. Because now there's 16 core courses, and you've got to get them done when your class graduates.
And if not, you're not going to have you're going to a junior college.
Right.
I think I might have asked you this. How many sports, intercollegiate sports, is Monmouth playing these days?
We're playing 23, which is, for a small-sized campus of just over 4,000 students, that's kind of ridiculous.
Ridiculous in a good way.
Yeah, very much in a good way. It's great to have that number of student athletes, but it's a pretty impactful program, and it's a big program. And people forget. They see the athletes on the field on Saturday, or Tuesday night or something. They forgot that the sports medicine has had something to do with that and has to cover it. All the compliance issues for every one of those student athletes. The sports information communication, the press releases, it goes on, all the things that you have to take care of, the academics, to make sure they're eligible. So every one of those student athletes has had a lot of people touching them and making sure that they're ready to go. And you see the game and you think, oh, that's no big, no.
All right, well, we're going to take a break and then we'll come back for the second half.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can,
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, You really should.
And give wishes wings, because wishes work wonders.
We're back with the second half of the show with Marilyn McNeil. You've been here 22 years?
Yep.
What was your reaction when you first saw Monmouth University? It wasn't a university yet.
No, it was college, yes. I came on an interview in the in the February of '94 with one of the great snowstorms. And restaurants were closed, and they told me my interview probably wouldn't happen, and I was coming from California. So my first impression of Monmouth was, oh boy, what did I walk into? But I had a fabulous interview with President Stafford, and really
Very nice woman.
a wonderful woman, and I really wanted to work for her. I thought that that would be just a great experience, and it was beyond belief.
She took the first, some of the major steps to Monmouth College, to Monmouth University
Yes.
were under her.
Yes, she is an extremely bright woman, very accomplished, could really figure out a lot of things, and she was such a caring person that you just wanted to work hard for her.
When you came here, you were one of the few women athletic directors in the country.
Yeah, it's a sad tale. I was one of about 24, and 22 years later, I'm one of about 32, so we haven't made the progress we need to make.
But at the same time, through Title IX, women's sports have progressed at the college level.
Yes, unbelievably so. Just gone out the roof, and will continue to do so.
Now, I read a lot, people in Lombard who know me know I'm a big sports fan. And you always read articles, and they blame the demise of male sports on Title IX. You buy that at all?
Not at all.
Why?
I don't buy it at all. It's really, you know what it is? It's, there's a pie, and so much money is in the pie, and you've got to divide up the pie. And what's happening for many of the major sports is football takes a good 2/3 of that pie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part, to make it half, goes to all the other men's sports. And then the other group, I should have said football takes 1/3. Then you've got to get to the half, you've got the rest of the men's sports, and then you've got to put the other half into women's sports. So if football would just move its needle up a little bit, you could afford all the other sports. Football does not need so many of the extravagant costs that they have. That's why for Monmouth, we play at the FCS level, which is the absolute perfect level. It's controlled costs. It understands the whole economics of college sports.
How many football players are here on scholarship?
We have about 53 scholarships that we have almost 100 athletes. So
You spread them out.
they spread out. All 100 are on scholarships? No.
But if you look at a Big Ten school, they're going to have 85.
They have 83, and it has to go to the individual. That's what they call a head count sport. So if you're playing football at Rutgers and you get money, you're one of 85. So, and that's a full ride. You are getting everything.
So
you can't split it up at Rutgers.
But you can on the lower
can,
level. So that
yes.
enables you to do what you do.
Yes.
You were saying before how football has accomplished bringing activity and life to the campus on the weekend. The other sports do that in a very different way, though.
They do.
How would you say?
Well, as I said earlier, the student athletes are the ones that are here on the weekends. They're the ones that are bringing life to the campus. They're always around, and they're always involved, and they create this friendship and across all sports. So they always are helping each other out and cheering each other on. But tonight we'll play women's soccer. I bet there's 500, 600 people at the game, students that are just
Free.
coming. Yeah, oh yeah, free.
Doesn't
We
cost
don't
a dime
charge.
to go to the game.
Yeah. They're coming from a night class. They stop by. The game will be exciting. It's such a beautiful venue. Lights will be on, and I'm sure we'll be very successful. And so it'll be fun to watch us win.
How about the other sports like lacrosse or?
Well, lacrosse is just men's lacrosse. We've just added.
Do you have women's lacrosse too?
We do, and they've been around for a while and been very, very successful. Field hockey, we won the championship last year and hosted Princeton here on our campus in the NCAAs. That was extremely exciting. Had a great crowd for field hockey.
Also no charge, so people who
Right.
want to go from the community
Yes.
are just welcome to come
Right.
over and for free.
The only time we charge is men's and women's basketball, football, and we do charge for men's lacrosse. We fully expect that men's lacrosse will be a very big sport for us in
What
a
field
couple
do
of
they
years.
play on?
They play on Kessler Field as well, where football plays.
And they are a spring sport, though.
They are.
Nobody played lacrosse when I grew up. around here.
Neither, and I see the game today, and I would have loved to have played it. It's fast, it's like basketball, but you're outside, and
I always saw these big kids and every one of them had a stick. When I went to college, it was the first time I ever saw lacrosse, and it wasn't for me.
well, I
never
I agree on the men's side because it's very much like football. They're
Right.
padded, they're helmeted. On the women's side, it's not. They're not helmeted, they're not padded. They have to wear goggles, but it's a much freer game, less contact.
And men's soccer, we haven't mentioned it, but that may be the best program on this campus.
They have had unbelievable success, and right now they're riding I think an 8-game winning streak, and they're starting to get back into the national polls. So
Are they real? I mean, a couple of years ago, Monmouth was a top 10 team national.
yeah, they have a legitimate chance to go quite deep into the NCAA tournament, and that's quite a remarkable achievement.
Now, you were in the Northeast Conference, and particularly in football, you took a huge step up.
Yes.
Football is in the Big South. It's the only team in that
Right.
conference.
Very, very strong conference, second in the nation. So
In what?
In FCS football. the Big
Okay,
South.
when you say you're not comparing it to the Big Ten.
No, FCS. No. Yeah, that next.
Did you when you left if I remember correctly, when you left the NEC, the basketball team had been moderately successful there. You just hired King Rice, and
Right.
you were going, and the MAC is a big step up. And football was almost an orphan for a year or two, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was difficult.
Was that a gamble, or you knew where it was going?
No, that was a gamble. I didn't fully expect to be thrown out of the Northeast Conference. I was hoping we could work an arrangement. But we also knew that if we were going to get better at football, we needed to get into a conference that allowed us to get better. The Northeast Conference had caps on it, and we were stuck. And we needed to be better. We needed to work harder. We needed to get more scholarships and become more successful and become better at the game.
When the coaches got and recruit a kid, I remember asking Coach Callahan, the football coach, how many of your kids think they're going to make the NFL? And he looked at me and said, every one of them.
Yep, that's right.
And I'm going to guess if I asked Coach Rice, the basketball coach, he'd say the same thing. Every
Yes.
kid thinks he's going to the
Yes.
NBA.
Yes.
So the logical conclusion is when you say, okay, we are now in a better conference, more kids are willing to look at you.
Yes, and that was particularly, I think it's been particularly interesting both in men's basketball and football, because they see that they can now get up against teams that are stronger and players that are stronger, so they can look better. And that's what they want to do. They want to say, look at me, I could be better than so-and-so, and he's in. As Coach Callahan from our football program says, the more success Miles has, the more difficult it is for him, because now everybody thinks that they can get to the NFL through Monmouth because Miles did that.
Miles Austin we
Yes.
talked about. But you had a couple other kids
Yes,
go.
we have. We've had some nice success, and they go into the NFL very well prepared. Coach Callahan does a great job of teaching them techniques and being in shape and ready.
It's been a while since you had an NBA player. I think
Yes.
we were talking earlier, Alex Blackwell had a cup
Right.
of coffee with the Lakers and was sort of missing in action for a few years, but he's coming home.
Back for the Hall of Fame. We're very excited about that.
When's that going to be?
December 13th, when we play Wagner at home.
At halftime he'll be on
Yep,
it?
in basketball.
That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I saw, he was an impressive athlete.
Yeah, I've never met him, but I'm looking forward to it.
I believe it was early 90s with Wayne's Oak.
Yeah, and it was amazing because I was in my office and I picked up the phone and he said, "Hi, I'm Alex Blackwell." And I said, "Alex, we have been waiting to find you." And he says, "Yeah, my mom got on me and now I'm calling." I said, "Well, please let us make this work." And so, yeah, he's coming back, so it's great.
How big is the Hall of Fame here?
Well, we will induct 6 people into the Hall of Fame this year, plus the 1996 men's basketball team. So Corey Albano and John Giraldo and all that
I remember
group.
those guys.
G and Gintis and everybody, they're coming back.
They were a
so
good team.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. That was the first team that went to the NCAA for us. We're hoping all the coaches come back, including Wayne's Oak. He's had an invitation. But our Hall of Fame now, we've been at it for, I think, 6 or 7 years since it had its hiatus, and we've put in about 6 people. So there's 50 50
when
folks.
did Mrs. Rampone go in? Because she may be the most illustrious athlete to ever walk this campus.
Absolutely. Boy, you got
We just
me.
talked a couple of minutes. We're almost at the end of the show and hadn't mentioned her yet.
Yeah, and our fault because, yeah, she is the most wonderful, genuine person you will ever meet.
Always comes back to New Jersey after she wins a gold medal of the World Cup.
And it always comes back to Monmouth
Yeah.
and gives up her time and signs autographs and is just the nicest person. I had to apologize 100 times the last time she was here, with just a couple of weeks ago, because the lineup was huge and it was getting late and she had her daughters and they were starting school, and I said, Christy, I'm so sorry. She says, no, let me continue. So she's just so generous.
I mean, it is amazing, and I think, you know, we were talking in part women's sports, that when they won the World Cup, I mean, the entire nation was focused on this group of women who really accomplished great things.
And she was such a pivotal part and didn't have all the playing time, but her role was so critical. In athletics, we talk about leadership all the time. I'm sure in every part of the world we talk about it. But her leadership was probably one of the major deciding factors for her success.
Well, listen, we can talk about it in politics, because if you aren't part of a team, you won't get any work done.
Right.
And that is one of the things. I mean, can you justify sports on campus if you don't learn lessons like that?
Not at all. Not at all. And that's probably the biggest lesson that you'll ever learn, is how to cooperate, how to win, how to come back, how to practice, but how to be a team member, how to figure out when you should lead and when you should follow, and when you can be the star and when you play the bench.
Well, that's a great way to end it. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for
Thank
doing
you,
that, and
Adam.
I'll see you in the pool soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.